Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Volusia Flagler Cares. It's a weekly podcast where we explain about nonprofit groups, their upcoming events, their fundraisers, and their activities. And sometimes we just like to talk about what's happening in the nonprofit world. If you are a volunteer, if you are a member of the nonprofit groups, you'll know that we took a hit during COVID. We had some other issues, but I do think that we're kind of circling around. So today we got really lucky, and we are blessed to have with us somebody who I think can kind of give us that perspective that we've been looking for. He is the governor elect for the Kiwanis in the what district is this? Tommy?
First
District.
district.
Okay, and he is the guy coming in, taking over from one of our first guests, Jeremy Reel, and we're lucky to have him. And Tommy, I'm going to ask you some questions. You know, we might challenge each other here, but it's all for the good because these are some of the questions that probably do need to be asked and answered. So, a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm a native of Tallahassee, Florida. Uh, I'm a mechanic by trade. That's what I really do. My father, uh, he knew how to work with his hands, so everything that he knew, he taught me. So I can do pretty much anything if it's mechanical and with your hands. I can do that. But through volunteering, I really found my niche. Back in 1981, I sought out as a young man to volunteer within my county. And
Hmm.
I worked for a man, and he says, "Well, why don't you join one of the law enforcement agencies as a auxiliary trooper or reserve deputy, and they'll provide a venue for you to give back." And that's what I did. And the best thing happened. I joined the Florida Highway Patrol as an auxiliary trooper. 2 years later, I was recruited for the Leon County Sheriff's Office to come to work
Wow.
there, and the rest is history. I made a living in law enforcement, and I didn't set out to be a lawman. But through volunteering, sometimes it's through the volunteering that we find uh, something amazing, and that's something amazing happened to me, and so I
You
can't I
heard the
can't thank
call.
volunteering enough.
Well, you heard the
I'm
call, and always in a good way. I mean, definitely.
always always.
What a wonderful experience for you to have. So then, how long have you been in Kiwanis?
In Kiwanis, 22 years,
22,
and
over two
loving every
decades.
minute of it. I've gotten there. It was through volunteering again at the time in Tallahassee. I was the president of the board for the Tallahassee, uh, uh, for one of our Tallahassee affiliates, Habitat for Humanity. And
Oh,
a friend of mine was rolling off the board, and he says, "Tommy, I've got a bunch of guys and gals I'd like for you to meet. I think they'll like you, and I think you'll like them." So that's 22 years ago, and I'm still here.
well,
It's
and
great.
that is, I was asked by a friend. I went in. Now it's only been about 10 years, but same thing, Tommy. Once you get in, once you see that smile or that
Oh,
tear
absolutely.
of gratitude for what you have just accomplished, it's you can't put a price tag on it, you can't put a
Cannot,
time
cannot.
frame on it. It's just, it's what keeps me going. It's why I do what I do. And
Absolutely.
now you are going to be taking over the reins of the now. How big is your territory now?
Pensacola to the Keys,
Pensacola.
all of Florida,
All of
Wow.
Florida.
Okay.
and and
Now,
and and then in our district there's 27 divisions. It's broken down into divisions.
Okay.
Division one starts at Pensacola and it goes all the way to 27 down at the lower part of Florida.
Okay. Are there any other like islands or anything that you'll be working with?
Kirk and Caicos. Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So it's way out there then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Is Puerto Rico in that? I couldn't remember. If
Not in ours. It's in the Canada version.
okay, they have like a Caribbean type of thing.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Well, let's talk about aging out, which is a serious problem. It's almost like the baby boomers recognized that it does take a village. They did get in and they volunteered. Since then, we've lost a couple of generations of people not stepping up. So, how do we get kind of back in touch with them? And I don't know if you guilt them into it or what you've got to do to motivate them. But then how do you, or just cut it off and to go straight back down to the people in the 20s and 30s and try and grow from there? I honestly don't know, Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Well, you mentioned something. During the pandemic, the last 4 years, I was a membership chair. And as membership chair, I worked hard to try and keep the clubs open, try and convey to the many divisions and the over 200 clubs that closing is not an option because even though the pandemic is here, the need for that our kids have in our district hadn't gone away. Matter of fact, it's going to
Right.
be greater.
Right.
They're going to by missing school. We don't know. They're trying to determine now how far behind the kids really got. We don't know just yet, but we know that
Yeah.
Right.
school and being in that environment is important. We know that kids still have to eat. Kids still need clothes. Still, kids still need their needs keep on going. So, my task was to work hard to tell the clubs, look, let's hold on. The pandemic is something that I know nothing about, you know nothing about, but we know that we got to keep on living and do
Mhm.
the best we can and follow the medical advice. And then, but our kids still need us. And even
Right.
during those times, we were still able to provide the necessary uh, resources that kids could still prosper and keep them, even though they were home, we still provided food. Even though they were home, we were still able to provide books and resources. We were still able to keep media centers open, help in some places, like in my city, that we had computers that we had to keep up and running, and some we loaned out to kids to take home to where they could keep on learning. So
Nice.
even though the pandemic occurred, and even though there may be other things that are coming down the road, the need for us to improve the lives of our children will still be ongoing. So we have to keep doing those things. You said something about young people and joining all through the pandemic. I heard all of that, and I heard all of the doom and gloom, and but when I asked how many young people have you asked, most of them hadn't asked anybody. Whatever we do, it's going to take preparation. If we
Right.
want to prepare for young people to join our clubs, we got to prepare our clubs to be ready for them. They're not going to
Yes.
come. And now I joined the club, and when I joined the club, we had oatmeal every morning. I mean, we were a morning club, so all we had was oatmeal. It wasn't no biscuits, wasn't no eggs, wasn't no grits. Was your cholesterol couldn't go up, your blood pressure couldn't go up. When they made me the president 18 months later, the first thing they told me is you got to do something about this oatmeal. Don't you going to be gone
Right.
in the
Dump it on
next
you.
3 months? Yeah, they put it on me. So at our first board meeting, I brought it up and says, look, the members of the club have come to me and said, this oatmeal got to go. And so everybody agreed. So when we went back to our first regular meeting, I brought it up and says, look, we discussed this in the board, and the board is recommending that we get rid of this oatmeal. We need some grits, eggs, bacon, sausage, all of those things that would put the doctor to work. So now we're just as happy, and the doctor is happy because he's got a lot of work to do. But we have to change. We have to
You're
change
right.
with the times, and
Yeah.
young people are not going to come to a place where they serve an oatmeal. You got
Yeah.
to prepare for them. They're not going to come to a place where you got your programs is all about. uh, people for my age, what are we doing about arthritis and all of these things? You got to have programs that's relevant, and we got to prepare for them, and they'll come and join us. All we have to do is ask, and if we'll prepare ourselves, they'll come, and they are coming. When we look at our key club here in this district, the Florida district, we have
Mhm.
23,000 young people that are joining a service leadership organization that are sponsored by Kiwanians, and it's this is the first year we hit that number 23,000. Next year we're
Oh,
going to hit even more
right,
because kids want to serve and they need to serve and they're willing to serve, but we just have to provide a venue that attracts them, and
right.
they'll come.
So we need to package ourselves to get the word out, but then we have to have the framework for them to come and grow within.
Absolutely, absolutely. You got to
Well,
remember now, young people. We need young people, and young people need us. We need them because they're strong. They're able to do
yes,
the heavy lifting. They need us because we have the wisdom to where they don't blow their back out too soon. So it's
right.
it's a trade off. Uh, we work with them and they work with us, and all of our service leadership organizations. We're working to try and improve the lives of young people, and we do that through sharing our experiences. We don't just
Sure.
give them a check, but they get a chance to work alongside you. They get a chance to work alongside Curtis. They get a chance to work alongside me, and all of
Right.
those members that have all of those resources and experiences. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. I want some credit though for really, really giving a great righteous solid to you, because you now get Kristen Gandy next year, who
Yeah.
is, I mean, she's going to be one of the youngest lieutenant governors. And I swear, man, she, like you say, she's got like energy and,
Yeah.
all of
Absolutely,
the things that we need, and I am just so happy that her kind of marrying with you as that framework that she can grow from. I think
absolutely,
this is going to be just a completely dynamic uh, potential to do some amazing things.
absolutely. I've always said this in our Kiwanis. When we look around, you mentioned about aging, and our clubs are aging. I guess the standard age is around 70. But I say to young people, you can't fail being around seniors. There's too much experience in the room, so
Right.
you can't fail. And so our job is to make sure that they don't fail, and it's their job to learn what we know that they don't fail. And
Right.
as a police officer, or deputy sheriff, working with the senior officers, I gained experience with them that if I had just gone to the classroom only, it would what I learned in 3 years, it would took me 10 years in the classroom.
Right.
So that
Well,
experience
and,
really
and
matters.
Well, the
it
young kids need
reminds me of a
mentors
T-shirt
to teach them.
that I saw in Key
Yeah.
West that said, "Age and treachery will always win out over youth and skill."
Absolutely.
But it is. It comes down to knowing the game, knowing the rules, knowing how to play, and how to adapt and overcome. Because
You're right.
we always have to do that, Tommy. How many times is the
Absolutely.
person who was supposed to bring this didn't show up, or we had this and the tables are broken, and I mean, you
That's
just
right.
and you deal with it. It's
That's
almost
it.
like uh, I don't know if you've ever been in the theater or know people that do that type of live production. I swear to you, 100%, every single one of them, the day before is 5 days behind. But you know what? When that curtain goes up, there it is. And
You never
and
know.
I found the same thing with us. It's the day of, man. There's so many people that are there to just bring it all together, help out. People not even Kiwanians that, oh, hey, look, you need some help carrying that. So it is wonderful on having that part of it. I do agree that we have to create the bed to start growing these flowers, but but how do you have to ask? Do you do surveys to find out what is the type of bed that they want? Or are they even being realistic? Because I've had people go, well, if you do it like this, I'll be for sure you get it like that. No, they still don't want in because they were just lazy and they didn't want any part of it. So, at what point do you try to find out what they are asking for so that we can serve it up? But I don't know where we're going to do
It's
that and how.
it's how we present it. We ask people to come and join our club. They
Mm-hmm.
say, "Well, what am I joining it for?" Well, I don't ask that way. I says, "Come and be a part of an amazing experience." That's what service does. It helps
Nice.
all of us to find the best. You find the best you, I find the best me, and it's all through service. Someone asked me at a convention a few days back, says, why? And it was about a key clubber spending $30 investing and becoming a key club member. Why should I spend $30 to serve when I can do it for free? But you don't have to, you're not serving with 23,000 of the brightest, youngest leaders in this district. And the first year they come in as a uh, freshman, they hardly will even speak or talk. Then when they leave as a senior, that have been treasurer, uh, secretary,
Right.
president, lieutenant governor, governor for the state, they're so polished. They're head and
Tommy,
shoulders above those who hadn't done that.
I wish I was as polished as our lieutenant governors for the key
Oh,
clubs.
don't
Oh
we
my
all?
God. I know they are
Don't we
just
all?
like, they have it going on and
We're
they know
able
this.
as they
Go
know,
ahead.
but we're able to see our product, and that is developing young leaders as Kiwanis. We're able to see our product mature right in front of us and see the awesomeness and see the amazing things that are happening with our youth. That's what we're about. And we're not selling a service, we're selling amazing. We're doing amazing
I
things.
like
Our kids
that.
are doing amazing things. We're not just in the high school, but we're doing this in elementary school,
Right.
our third through fifth graders, whatever the school says their age are, and we're teaching parliamentary procedure skills, Robert's Rules of Law, as early as elementary school. Then in our
Right.
middle school, we have a Builders Club, which is another service leadership organization that's sponsored by Kiwanis. We're developing these young leaders right on up through high school where they join the Key Club. Then and after high school, when they leave high school, they go to college. They can join a CKI club
Right.
in college. And even if their college don't have one, they know the importance of working together and youth banding together because it brings the best out of them all.
Sure.
We have
And they
college
can
students
start
go to
one.
college. Yeah, and they start one. That's what they do.
You know, Tamara at Bethune Cookman, I'm telling you, man, she was committed to doing that. And you know what? They now have a great CKI there. And one of the other
Absolutely.
things that
Absolutely.
I think that some kids, and not that you want it to be just mercenary, but there are kids that have to get so many community service hours for their bright future scholarship, or if they got in trouble or whatever it is, but
Right.
they are tasked to earn credits for committing their time. So
Right.
uh, by being in these clubs, their hours are tracked. So, like that person you said, oh, listen, I do it on my own. Well, the honor system isn't going to work when you report to the bright
That's right.
future scholarship. So what we
Yeah, that's
need
right.
is a little bit of order to it, and you guys have not only created how to do that, but like you say, to grow. When I hear uh, someone in ninth grade raise their hand and go, point of order. I'm telling you, man, it almost brings tears to my eyes that they already know Robert's Rules of
Already know
Order.
that stuff. Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so, it's exciting to see. Uh, Here is one of the questions, though, that I have. I
Mm-hmm.
have, in 10 years, I have watched everything go from the bugs to the builders clubs to the key clubs to the CKI. We've opened up several of them. Uh, is there more of on average? Here's what it is. I don't see as many people in the clubs that were former key clubs and CKI members. So are we losing them afterwards? What happens in between that time frame?
One of the things we're doing now is working on, and as I said, when even adults come into Kiwanis, if they don't experience amazing, they won't stay long. They've
Right.
got to experience amazing, and we find that amazing through our service. We do so many amazing things. And if I asked a club member, what did y'all do last week? And they said, well, we went out and we filled backpacks for kids to go home. And I asked them, what do you call that? They'll say, we fill backpacks. I said, no, that's amazing because that kid's not going to go hungry this weekend.
Right.
And I asked somebody at school, I said, what y'all do at another club? I said, what y'all do last week? They said, well, we filled a clothes closet at school because some kids come and don't have proper underwear, don't have proper shirts and stuff like that. I said, what do you call that? They said, well, we provided clothes for some kids that needed it. I said, no. I said, that's amazing. You're doing amazing things. And what we're doing is we're doing amazing things, but we're selling it as it's just
Right.
something. No, we're doing a great thing because every child that you help, and I equate things to natural things. I grew up in the country, and I'm a I equate things to honeybees. I read, there are a lot of things I'm always trying to find out, but they say honey don't never go bad. And that's what happens with us as Kiwanians when we impact kids' lives, it lasts a lifetime.
Right.
And why are we taking it light? You know, what we do is amazing. And we've got to continue to do these amazing things. But then one of the things we have to do too, as a club and as a district and as a division, is record these amazing things. Because then
Yes.
when you record them, you can say how amazing, how really amazing we are. So if we do them and we don't
Right.
document them, if we do them and it's like uh, an organization or a affiliate going before anybody to get a grant, and they ask you, if you're doing after school, how many kids graduated? If you don't keep those amazing records, what's the chances of you getting the money? So it's the same thing with our youth. We've got to have an amazing experience with them. We can't just write checks. We just can't give them the money. Well, we got to have that amazing experience because what will happen is that person will remember Curtis. They'll remember
Right.
Kelly. They'll remember the passion that you had. They'll remember the care that you had. We can't say community without care. When you put care, you can say community because that's why people do what they do because what they have a passion and they care about their community. Most of us in Kiwanis that are 70 years old, all of our kids are grown, but we're working hard every day to try and help kids along the way because we don't want to see any kid left behind. And that's what
Right.
we're here for, is to serve to the best of our ability. I've been in law enforcement now 42 years, and I'm just learning how to serve. I don't have it down pat. I'm still learning. Every time I come and I talk to somebody, I get more excited. I'm going back
Right.
out. I'm the Kiwanian here in this district. I'm in 5 clubs, and most people are
Holy.
just in one. But nobody outworks me, no matter which club I'm in. They say you're everywhere. That's how blessed I am because my community helped me when I was young. I think about all of the gold nuggets that people shared with me when I was a little boy.
Right.
If I was throwing rocks, they says, Tommy, I wouldn't throw those rocks. You break a window, your dad's going to have to pay for it. He don't have that kind of money. I hear that today, and they help me. They help me. Somebody might say that's not important, but they help me, and that's how I'm paying for it now because they've invested those things in me. So I've got to invest back. I'll say to those that are listening, if you some have already said, I want to join an organization, but they've been procrastinating. We got to
Yep.
get off the sideline. When I come in next year, I'm all in. Kids win. I want to see our clubs working on all 8 cylinders, and I want to see the magic happen in all 27 division because it can happen. It can
Well,
happen. If
and
all of us
Tommy,
come together, if
yeah,
all of us have that passion, all of us have that love that but we all work together, we can push it over the top. The sky's only the
and
limit.
it's going to take, the good news is our past governor, Todd Smith, some of the other people that are in our, in an administrative position. It's all volunteer, everybody, but I think that if we could get something together, like you say, we got to build the place for these younger people to feel like this is where they want to go and tell the
Absolutely.
story. So
Absolutely.
I am definitely here to help you with that as you go on your journey. And I believe that what you were just starting to say about when you introduce people to amazing, that it's hard. There is no competition.
No, no.
And one of the things that at my again, I was in another club in Daytona, and we were finding that we were getting new members, but we would have they wouldn't stick. And we realized that we had done a terrible job of bringing them in, of showing them and telling them even, what Kiwanis is all about, like an orientation, and then hooking them up into a committee and actually have them in the trenches doing
Absolutely.
something, because that's where, again, it's the tears in the eyes, the lump in the throat, that keeps you going.
People join to have an amazing experience. If they don't have an
Yes.
amazing experience, they won't stay. So and
Well,
that appeals to all ages, all ages.
right. Oh yeah. Well, I think you have your new tagline, which is serving up amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But well, Tommy, how do you see the future for not just nonprofit groups, but any of these service organizations?
The future is very bright. And but what we have to do
Mhm.
is know that when we invest in our youth, we're investing in the future not only of our community, not only of the school that they're in, not only of this great state we live in, but we're these great United States, and we're investing in the world. And as Kiwanians, our motto is we're a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world one child, one community at a time. So somebody said, where you get started? Get started right where you are. How much money do you have to have? As Kiwanians, we start off probably with zero budget. We've got to raise those funds, but out of the love for the kids, out of the results, the impact that we have, guess what? We work hard at putting on golf tournaments. We work hard at doing spelling bees. We work hard at selling pancakes,
Yeah.
whatever it is that needs to be done. Guess what? We don't have a guaranteed amount of money to start off at the beginning of the year.
Right.
But as community members, we come together and says these kids are not going to go liking. So
That's
that's where we
it.
start from zero.
Once you
Yeah.
throw out the intention of here's what we need, everybody starts pitching in and coming together. It's like
Absolutely, absolutely.
this
Yeah.
the Miracle League.
Uh huh.
They have a season and then weekly games, and it's just the coolest thing ever. So we're out there cooking hot dogs and
Yes,
donating all
yes,
of that, but uh, that's the thing. You almost wish you could just grab one of these young kids and go, here, come over here, cook some dogs and start talking to these people because you just
correct.
might learn something. And you do, and
And
God,
and,
I
and
mean, just,
that's all you do. You
yeah.
ask them to
Yeah.
come. I have three grown daughters, and they're all Kiwanians because I promote Kiwanis. I promote giving back. It's really what it's all about. And sometimes
Hmm.
we have people that we work with, we never ask. It's amazing how in Kiwanis a poll was done a few years back, and 13% of Kiwanians asked people to join. What's with the other 87%?
Right,
What if the other 87 was doing it? Man, look at the growth we'd have. Because all people
right,
want to do is be asked. Sometimes they're just waiting on that one entity to ask them. And whoever
yep,
asks, guess what? They get. But the one that don't ask, one thing there's a guarantee you surely won't get.
right. Well, you can change somebody's life. I mean, both
Yes,
the people
yes.
that got affected by that person and that person.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
can't tell you how many people
Absolutely.
I have met, not saying that they were going astray, but the bedrock of our service, what we believe and how we conduct ourselves, I think becomes something that is a template to follow and makes it easier to, participate in life because, you kind of see here's how it should be done.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
And
the kids are watching. They're watching
right.
and they want to know how to serve. And if we do an awesome job of serving and knowing that they're watching, we can invite them, and guess what? They'll come and they'll join us and they'll be a part of it. Because Kiwanis has been around 110 years this year. I expect
That's
it
a
to be
long
around
time.
another 110.
Yep.
And how are we going to get those? Make sure we do it for another 110. We got to recruit. We can't be afraid to ask people. All we do is say ask. I can't tell you what the equation is for how many no's you get before you get a yes. But no
Right.
means it don't mean stop. No means new opportunity. So ask somebody else. Somebody's coming. Somebody's waiting to be asked. You may have just
Yep.
missed the wrong one.
Yeah.
Sometimes we judge by the book by its cover, and we don't ask them because we say, well, maybe they can't afford it. How do you know what they can afford? And so people tell me all the time, young people can't afford to join a club. Well, I've never had on a $200 pair of tennis shoes in my life. I don't know how they
Right.
walk. I don't. They got $200 pair of
Yeah.
tennis shoes. I've got a young man, a cousin of mine, go to church. He's got a closet full of tennis shoes, and none of them is cheap.
Right.
They're
Well,
full.
or $6 to go buy a Starbucks coffee in the morning
Oh,
every
absolutely,
day.
Yeah.
every day.
Well, I sent you an email earlier, and it was something that I had seen, and it was from a company that works with nonprofit groups, and
Hmm.
they set up this online system that merges with your websites, and somehow you get as transactions are performed, whoever is signed up in your network, you receive a percentage of those transactions, and there's several of
I
these.
saw that.
In fact, a couple of the lieutenant governor before me, Dylan Colkhurst, he formed a company like that called Givebacks, And
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
understand the principle. And what it is, you're basically being one of the chosen few. And by being that, whenever somebody is using their card, there's a percentage that comes back to the club. And they've gone even a little further to provide, that you can set up a shopping cart there. You can have auctions, you can promote, and it'll even do some social media for you. So
Mm-hmm.
I see some of this happening, but it's like, how do you know which one to hitch your wagon to? And are people expecting to go third party for fundraising and for we're doing everything now, like even our tickets to events, you got to go through Bright something and Eventbrite, and so all of these things are changing, and I don't have a handle on all of it. I don't know how everybody else does, but we got to figure out how to use it.
Absolutely. Those things are there for our good, and
Mm-hmm.
and those are venues that we're going to have to learn how to use. And it's like
Yeah.
cell phones and everything else. You can say I want a flip phone all you want, but then you won't be able to never ever maximize the potential that the smartphones have. You can ask
Right.
this smartphone questions. I could ask where Kelly Lacone live. I can ask it, what's the population in your city. I can ask it that, and I don't have to go home and get on the computer. So there's a lot of things that are right at our fingertips, and we're going to have to learn how to use those things. And the good thing about it is we develop young leaders who can help us to do those
Right.
things. We have a senior program up here where seniors help seniors. There's a group of seniors who come out to different service leadership organizations, such as uh, some of the community centers, and they teach the seniors how to use the cell phone because nothing's wrong with
Yeah.
the cell phone, but seniors are afraid of them.
Oh yeah.
And what better way than to have a high school senior teach them how to use it and how to use it
Absolutely.
effectively
Well,
because it can
and
help them.
it's got to be beneficial for the high school senior as well. Definitely be back in touch with you.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that we need to think beyond
Oh
just
yeah.
phone calls and Zoom calls. It would be nice if the governor had a podcast that could feature different divisions, outstanding people, some of the fundraisers that are going on, and I'll be happy to help you get that all set up and going, because I do think that
I,
it's the next step in the communication and outreach programs.
I agree with
So,
you. I agree. Uh, One of the things we talked about Kiwanis, but we didn't talk about the vision. And the vision that Kiwanis have is that it'll have a positive influence in communities worldwide.
mhm.
So much so that kids will wake up one day in a community that believe in them, that will nurture them, and that will support them, that they might be able to thrive. That's what we're really all about. We want to be a positive influence. We want to be someone who the kids can believe in, someone who know that we're there to support them, and then someone there to nurture them.
And we do. We talk the talk, but we walk the walk.
Absolutely,
And that's
absolutely.
all you can do. That's all you can do.
That's all you can
Well,
do.
Tommy, I am just so honored and thrilled that you were here with me. Anything I can do to help you as you prepare for your governorship, and while you are governor, I'm happy
Right.
to pitch in and to help out. We know we need it, so
Yes, sir.
we will live on. And I am going to send you a copy of this, and when this airs, you'll already be able to send it out and post it yourself. All right,
Amen. Thank
everybody.
you
Well,
so much.
listen, we've
All
got
right.
another episode of Volusia Flagler Cares in the vault. Next week, we have Kathy Blackman from Sophie's Circle, and we're going to try to get some dogs adopted. So join us next week for another episode of Volusia Flagler Cares. We'll see you soon. Be nice to each other. Bye-bye.